Hey, everybody out there that's been waiting on our podcast. We're back for another edition of Talk Elevated. Today's episode is entitled, and this is actually the finale of the relationship series, it's actually titled Relationship versus Religion. Before I get into it, I do want to do a huge shout out to my homeboy, Jamar Jenkins, and his wife. They are over a brand called Relationship Over Religion. So thank you for the shirt. Just got it in the mail. It is Relationship Over Religion. You can definitely go to Instagram. It is Relationship Over Religion is the Instagram page, and you can order one of their shirts. And I am ready to go. So shout out to Jamar. Thank you so much for this. We love the shirts. And all right, so let's dive into relationship versus religion. How you doing, Jamar?
Oh, you know my name? You don't know my name?
I was going to say Jamar. I was about to say Jamont. It kind of went into each other.
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing tonight?
I'm great. So tonight we're hearing the conclusion of the whole matter of relationship versus religion.
All right, so give people a breakdown of what we really talking about, so that they can understand what we mean.
All right, so what we mean by relationship versus religion, if you look at the flyer actually speaks of James, and in the book of James, it really talks about having relationship with God versus man-made doctrines and stuff like that. So how we are connecting this piece to our conversation with relationship is that a lot of us have grown up in the church, or a lot of us have an illusion of what relationship should really look like based off the things we've either seen in church or we've heard in church. And tonight our agenda is really to debunk them and kind of get you back to a place of understanding what true religion is and what true relationship is. We're not talking about doctrinal preferences, but we're talking about what we really should be looking for when we're looking for a spouse, when we're looking for a mate, which are one and the same, and
or friends,
or even friends. We're talking about relationships, period. And I think that we should pretty much start at the friend zone. And what I mean by friend zone is not that person that you blocking from being your boo or whatever, but I mean from literally what you should be looking for in the people that you call friends. And then we'll work our way up to marriage. The people what you should be looking for in someone you plan on marrying or spending the rest of your life with.
And for the people who are non-believers, you can take this same skills that were given for those people who are raised in the church and use them in a lot of your daily conversations and daily situations. Because, relationships aren't just about being saved. I mean, you're going to have relationships with people who don't know who God is, or who are Jewish or Catholic or Muslim. And the same principles apply. We just want to make sure everybody's using it the right way, because the worst thing you can do is use your relationship and destroy somebody else's life.
Right.
So, that's some things that we kind of want to prevent, because we've been there. I know personally, I've destroyed some people's lives because I didn't understand what relationship really meant. And I didn't have that connection like I should have with people and treated them the right way. So, and then I've been hurt by other people because I didn't understand their definition of relationship. So
let's talk about that for just a second. How important do you feel it is to actually go into a relationship with clear definition, whether it be friendship or whatever, just from jump, actually setting your expectation of this is what I need in my life, this is what I want, and going forward? Do you think that's something that you should put out there in the beginning, or do you think it's something that you should just kind of transition or let it unfold as time progresses?
Well, I think it's important to actually have the conversation, because what generally happens is we like to use that terminology, let's go with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
And, when you go with the flow, what people don't realize is you could be going at two different paces.
Right.
And one person can be ready, hey, I'm ready to do this thing, let's be real friends. And the other person is like, I seen a lot of red flags, I'm not sure if that's where I want to go. And if you don't have the conversation, what you're going to continue to do is Y'all gonna be going back and forth on this little seesaw, and there's not going to be anything defined, and then it causes confusion, and then one person's mad at the other person, and then it just becomes a mess. But if you establish from the jump, okay, hey, my name is so and so. What's up, John? My name is so and so. I'm here to make friends. This is what my goals are. This is where I'm trying to achieve. Because even in business, you have to do the same thing. You both have to know what your end result needs to be. You need to know what's going on, where you're trying to reach. So I think it's very important. The communication is key, and actually and knowing what your own definition of what you're looking for. Don't come in scatterbrained. Come with the actual definition of what you want to happen.
I agree with you. John, just to catch you up, what we're talking about is the connection between relationship and religion. And from the standpoint of how religion has sometimes either helped or hindered relationships because we have these preconceived notions about what a actual relationship should look like based on what we've heard. And also, the question was posed to Jamont, do you think that it's important to state what you're feeling initially, or should it be something that happens progressively? So while Jamont was talking, and I was listening to you, Jamont, but while you were talking, you mentioned rivers and streams and how people always say go with the flow, but sometimes we may be flowing different ways. Normally in nature, a river always flows into like an ocean. And inside of the ocean, of course, you've got all these different currents and different ways that things are moving, and it just becomes like tumultuous. Pretty much is the best way to put it. But sometimes, and it's only like maybe 2 or 3 times in the world, a river actually flows in and out. So it's got both currents going simultaneously. So it's like it's warring with itself to figure out which way it should be going. And I think that a lot of times that we as people may be warring with ourselves and we don't really know necessarily what we need or what we want, which is part of the reason why we have issues when trying to develop the very basic of relationships. If you can't clearly define, what it is that you're looking for, what it is that you need, how can you have a relationship that's healthy? Or how can you have a relationship that works? Because you don't really even know what you want yourself.
And I think that's the issue a lot of people have. Like, it goes back to what we've been talking about the other 3 weeks. There are things that you have to first get over, resolve, and then come to a conclusion of what you really want. Because sometimes we fool our own selves and say, I'll take this for an example. Women and men have a perfect person that we've seen in society, like, I want X, Y, and Z. But is that really what you want? Or are you just conforming to what everybody else is doing? And so in any relationship that you get into, even when it comes to friendship, don't just take what's given. You have to set your own parameters. You have to know what you want and understand that, I'm not going to allow somebody to come in and destroy my peace just to have somebody that say is my friend. And we do that a lot. We set these temporary parameters and we don't actually say, okay, this is what I want. This is what's going to make me a better person. I'm going to be able to be a better person to this other person, and we're both going to be able to benefit, and not just a leech sucking sucking the blood from something else. It's actually a true mutual relationship where both people are building, both people are growing, and then we're elevating. And when we get to the top, there's no issues.
I agree. What say you, John?
I think that religion has its place in relationship, but I think that oftentimes you have to separate those two. until that relationship or even that connection is defined. Um, and if it's moving, depending on what direction that it moves in or what definition or label that we give it, that would tell us if and to what degree we implement religion. Because at that point, if we integrate religion into a relationship, that becomes an intimate moment because it's the exchange of thoughts and ideas, morals, all that kind of stuff. It's a and for a lot of people, our religion, and I don't speak of like Christianity per se, but our personal doctrines are a major part of who we are. Just like our natural convictions, our natural everyday morals. So I think that often what happens, and I agree with both Tara and Jamon, and I think that oftentimes we get into situations without having, first off, a clear definition of what you want, what you need, what's going to be beneficial for you, and then being able to communicate that in such a way to the other party. Or, after however long that you've been engaging each other, make it known. There's no harm in that. That's one of the easiest ways for you to diffuse a whole lot of confusion or whatever else. You state what it is that you are looking for, state what you're seeking, what direction you believe your life is going into, and from there, y'all take notes and compare them.
And that
So
has to
religion,
happen early. That has to happen early because the thing is like what we don't realize, you like you had just said, as you're going on this journey, the longer you wait to define things, the more attached you've already become. So when you become attached to this person, even though they don't fit what you need and you don't fit what they need, you try to make each other fit. And then you're building on some you start building on a lie. And that is the dangerous part because when you're building something on a lie and you're building any form of a relationship from that bottom, that root is always going to be dead automatically. So there can never be any growth. It may seem like there's growth, but it's just a dying tree. That's all it is. It's a dying tree. And but when you talk about religion and our own doctrines, our own belief systems. Like that stuff plays a huge part because if you don't believe like I believe, we can agree to disagree, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we need to still be tight. And that's vital when you're defining the two. So I definitely agree with that, especially when it comes to the religion part, because it doesn't matter what religion you are. If we say this, no matter what, if you're a Baptist, Presbyterian, Pentecostal, whatever, if you look in that realm, what is the basis that we all have? We all believe in Jesus. We all believe in God. That's our foundation. We may not agree on other things, but if that foundation is strong and we all are believing the same thing, we can grow from there. And that's
I
how a
agree.
relationship should be.
See, like me personally, I grew up in. I'm kind of like the anomaly to the traditional church story because I grew up with a strict Jesus only background, and I grew up with a more liberal Baptist background. And so when I came into my teenage years, I tried to merge those two together by going the Kojic route. And so I've had this wide spectrum of beliefs and doctrine and convictions and whatnot. This here's my thing. At the end of the day, the Bible says that Jesus is the way to the Father. And no matter what, your individual little black book says, you still got to know Jesus if you intend to know the Father. So I'm like this. We can agree to disagree, but do you have a relationship with Jesus? You know, I, okay, you may not speak in tongues and pray in the spirit and do all the kind of stuff and prophesy, whatever. Hang out with me long enough, and I promise you some of that's gonna rub off on you. So if we need to get you filled with the Holy Ghost, we can do that. That's not a problem. But it's not my prerogative to push my religion on you. So
Correct.
long as I know that at no point are you going to do something that would offend my faith. and vice versa. I wouldn't do anything to you that would offend your faith. If anything, we should be able to have cordial conversation about the Bible. We should be able to talk about scriptural things. At a certain point in time, we should be able to pray together. We should, different things of that nature. So we begin to implement our religious beliefs per se into our relationship. And that doesn't become the dominating force, because ultimately the purpose of relationship is an exchange of information, it's an exchange of facts. It's how you get to know someone else. You cultivate that communication dynamic and allow for it to grow from there. So I agree with you.
It's true.
Whatever
It's true statements.
whatever your background is, do you know Jesus? Do you want to go to heaven? Do you serve the devil? Like, were you Joan of Arc in your former life? Like, what's going on? Uh, listen, listen.
We watch too much Coming to America. I have
I,
noticed.
Too much. Too
I
We
much.
have
watch too
I
much
have been
Coming
in
to
that
America.
situation before. I have been in that situation.
And listen, I'm telling you, like it's crazy. Like when we talk about relationships, I mean, I haven't always been saved. I like to say quotation marks, because I was dating people who didn't believe in God, or I was dating people who weren't on the same wavelength as me, and didn't go to church like I did, didn't believe like I did, and I tried to make it work because because I wanted to build something that even though I know it probably wasn't going to work. Like, we know it's not going to work, but we want to try because, we
On the
like,
door.
like
I'm
shorty
not going out
bad.
like no
Like, you know what I'm
punk.
saying?
Did he really
Shorty
dress
bad.
pretty bad?
I'm saying, she wearing the red bottoms, I'm saying she dressed good. Like, I mean, she does everything that stimulates the nature of man. So why not try to make it work? Maybe I can change her, you know? Just like most women think they can change men. Maybe I can change her. But that's not how it works in a relationship, because I can't change you. I can't make
That's
you do what I want you to do. And
that's witchcraft.
even though I may you said what?
That's witchcraft.
That's yes. Even though I may rub off on you, it won't be permanent, because you can't, if I can't live it for you, you got to live it for yourself.
Hmm.
So no matter what I'm rubbing off on you, if you don't take hold of it yourself and you're not living it yourself, then there's no change that's going to ever happen. So I'll see glimpses and like, oh, there's hope. But truth is, there is no hope. I'm building my own lie, and I'm just trying to stick to something because I put myself in so deep that now I'm in a relationship with somebody and I'm destroying the religion that's inside of me.
Because at its very simplest definition, religion is just simply whatever conviction or belief you have. It doesn't even have to be about God. It's just simply the principles that guide you as a person. So a lot of times, just like you said, you see that person, and even though you may have a set of principles that have governed your entire lifestyle, that have shaped you into becoming who you are, who the person that's sitting here today, when you meet a person, you have to really wonder, look at yourself and be like, what is it in me that makes me want this relationship so bad that I'm willing to compromise this religion or this doctrine that I've taught myself that's got to this point.
Say that word, compromise.
I know, but I'm saying you have to wonder what is it in you that triggers the compromise.
No, that's what I'm saying. That word in itself, compromise, we do it so much that it's become a part of our natural everyday living, because we don't want to be alone. Go ahead, Reverend Doctor.
But let me throw this out. Since we're talking about compromise, to what degree are we unwilling to compromise and be so staunch in our religion that we make no room for relationship with anyone because they don't do A, B, C, D, and E?
I don't think that it's not compromising anymore. I think this generation is past that. Now, the generations in the past, you had to be a holy roller to rock with them. But us, we don't want to be. We're running away from being so conformed to things that compromise, like I said, it's become an everyday habit. So we're willing to worry about, well, they check A, but they missed B and C, but they do got D. Okay, and then they got E. All right, cool. Well, no, they don't have F. So we're willing to do that kind of compromise now But back in the day,
Oh, the standard.
If you were not like, I always remember that Ray Charles, when Ray Charles met his wife, when they were sitting at the table, right, and they were talking about religion and singing and stuff like that, and she was like, when he started talking about church and the way he started talking about it, she slid her hand back a little bit because he was not meeting the standard that they had set at that time. Like, if you believe, then we gonna believe together the right way. You know, that's how it was. Nowadays it's not the same. Like, because we don't want anybody to think, oh, I'm different. I don't want to be unique. I'm just trying to trying to find somebody to live with for the rest of my life. It's I mean, when you say relationship versus religion, you're hitting so many different points.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, like you said, religion is not just about a sect or a church, or it's what you believe in. And sometimes, even at a young age, you believe in stuff, but you don't really have a true understanding of what you're believing. Correct. So then you start to want to allow people to manipulate you. You start to manipulate others because you're trying to figure out, well, what is my real belief system? What is my real religion? How do I really feel about God? You know, if we're going to go to that realm, how do I feel about God? Does God really feel the same way about me? And then, it goes back to when people see death and things like that, like, well, why would a God who loves me let somebody else that I love die or get sick? Like, when you start getting to that realm, and that's actually where you start to build your relationship with God. Because now that you're asking him questions, now you give him the opportunity to answer. Same thing in a relationship. I'm going to ask you questions because I need answers. Mm-hmm. I can't just go off of what I think or what I feel, because that's all temporary.
And I think that was the reason why I actually, when I was trying to figure out what we were going to wrap this up with, chose the title Relationship versus Religion, because they're two very different things. People a lot of time assume because I have religion, I have relationship. Not necessarily the case, because you can believe something very strongly. You can convince yourself that you believe something very strongly. And to your point, be like, I don't really know. And you have to question yourself, if I can be convinced or turned so easily, if I could be walked down from a place, is that really a conviction of mine? Is that really my religion? Or is it just something that sounded good, or something that grandmama taught me and my mama taught me? And so because everybody else is doing it, I'm doing it. We see it all the time in church, where people come to church, don't really know God, or even people who go to a job and don't really truly believe the core values of a particular business or even a church, because they're just going because, hey, I need a paycheck, or I'm going to church because it's the right thing to do on Sunday morning. You're supposed to be in church. So a lot of times people are in places and don't have relationship. They have religion, but they don't have relationship because they really don't see what's in it for them. They don't really see what's in it for them. They don't see the value of it. And it's easy for them to either compromise it or just, cast it aside when given the opportunity, because they really don't understand the value and what it brings to them. So I agree with you, Jamont, what you were saying. Like, if I don't understand it, or if I don't really truly know what it does for me, then of course I'm gonna compromise. It doesn't really have value.
And that's because people don't sit and wait to see the value. Like, we're such a microwave generation where we want it instantly. So I can ask God, hey, God, I want to meet the perfect woman. I want, that's for me, that you've designed for me. And then we'll ask him for it, we'll pray for it, and then we'll hit Tinder up 10 minutes later. Because we want it now. And that's not how he operates. Like, and I wouldn't expect you to want anybody to operate like that in your life either. Like, if I ask my mom, hey, listen, I got this investment that I want to make, and these are the facts, this is what it is. I don't want an instant answer. I want her to look at it, because she might see something that I don't see and be like, this wouldn't be a good investment for you. Mm-hmm. But for us, we want instant. God, you said I could have what my heart's desire. All right, boom, well, give it to me now. And that's he can't operate like that because there's a process that we have to take. And the first thing in that process is first after you ask it, you gotta have faith that it's gonna happen. You gotta have faith that it's gonna come to pass. Because if you're just expecting it to come and show up automatically, then man, you're gonna be struggling for a long time.
True.
And every relationship that you have will fail. It will crumble and fall. They may look good in the beginning, but when all that underlying walls that we've been talking about the last 3 weeks, all that stuff comes to play, you're like, dang, I should have just waited on God. I done wasted my time with all these people and built all this extra stuff on myself that I didn't need to have. And I said, that can be business, that can be personal, that can be even with your own family members. Sometimes you got to build a relationship with family again. You got to see where God wants you to do, how he wants you to handle them, because not everybody's on the same page as you. And it's important. It's as different as they are for not some reason, but they always connect. We got it. We have to have it all together. And we talked about that last week, the holistic, just getting yourself together. It's important because you're going to destroy lives and you're going to destroy your own lives. And then what?
I've also learned that for me personally, I had to come out of having unrealistic expectations of a potential mate and really open myself up to the thought that the right person that complements me will present themselves. And in that, what they will possess are characteristics that make up for where I'm deficient. So that there is harmony and congruency in this relationship, if it is to be something that is long lasting, leads to marriage, covenant, whatever. And I think that, oftentimes I can speak from this perspective as people that are in leadership and, credentialed and whatnot. A few years ago, there was this whole notion that you needed, somebody that could stand up and war in the heavens and do all this great spiritual stuff. But I'm like, at what point do you get tired of all of that? It's like do we really build the relationship around church? No. Because when the anointing lives, it's just me and you. And I don't know you. That's a problem.
Yeah, but we got to be mindful of that too, because this is the thing. We want somebody that definitely does help build us up. That's great. Yes. We do. We want somebody that helps build us up. We want somebody that matches us very well. But what do you do when that person is in front of you, but yet your eyes are not open to it because you haven't dealt with, okay, God, I really just want to let you do it. We still trying to find, and he put it there, but we still got our blinders on because we still looking for it like this instead of saying, okay, God, it's in front of me. Let me do what I got to do to get it. And we run from that. We run from the possibilities of it not being who we expect it to be. I'll tell you this. When I was younger, Aaliyah was my boo. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how long she's been gone now. Aaliyah was my boo.
Rock the boat.
And that was unrealistic, but it's what I wanted. And so I'm like, God, send me a woman like Aaliyah. She can sing, she can dance, she can act. She seems like she's down. Now, mind you, I don't know how her personal life was, but I seen all this stuff in front of me. I'm like, ooh, that looks so good to have, And then it's like, but that's not who I'm supposed to be with. But yet I'm still trying to aspire to find a woman like that. And then God puts a woman right in front of you, and she everything you really need. And like we talked about earlier, you put them in the friend zone, or you dismiss them altogether because you're looking for something that ain't even real. And we do this a lot. Men do it a lot, women do it a lot. I mean, I was talking about it earlier. We had these lists, and I seen somebody else put something up on Instagram today my brother Marcus Dawson, and he was like, get rid of the list, because the list that we have are not the same list that God's designed for us. And when he said that, I was like, dang, I've been putting up this list for how long now? Over a year and some change. I got a list of what I want, and just reading that, it reminds me that I have to allow God to put the right person in my life, because my list probably is jacked up, and it is probably really more for self-gratification than anything, and it's not for the elevation of my life. It's more for, okay, I don't want to deal with this, so this is what I want on my list. But I might need to deal with that, because if I deal with that, it's going to deliver me and allow me to really be the husband or friend that I need to be to the next person that comes in I encounter.
Amen.
You know, I think that for a lot of people, in regards to the list, a lot of people, those that are seeking a mate, having a list literally prolongs your process, because God is like, you clearly have not understood this whole relationship religion thing, because my ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. So if you want to continue with this list, I feel like God be sitting in heaven like, is you finished or is you done? When it comes to stuff like that, because I know I can speak for women. When we are younger, we have this list. And I'll use Kev on Stage, for example, because he did a really good video about this. He said, you know, when you 18, 19, you got about 20 items on your list. He said, then when you turn about 25, them 20 items go to 15. And then when you turn about 30, that 15 go to 7. He said, and then when you hit 35, that 7 go to like 2.5. He said, you have all these items on your list and you like, they ain't got a house, a car, stuff you don't even have. They ain't got a house, a car,
yep.
100 credit score. If they ain't making $100,000 a year, if they ain't got no kids, they got to have all their teeth got to be straight and perfect. They got to be 6'2". They got, like, you have this long list. And then as time progresses, because of your own foolishness, you get to a point where you like, Lord, just let them be saved. Like, that's your preference now. You just want them to be saved. You have to get to a point where it's not even about all of the materialistic or all that stuff out there. We've got to start to, as Dr. King said, judge people by the content of their character and build relationship from that. Because character, who a person is on the inside, will never change. If it's something,
it can change.
What I mean by, I'm talking about your core value system. I ain't talking about, okay, I'm vindictive today and I wasn't vindictive before. I'm talking about your core. And if you change like the wind, you might be bipolar.
Nano might, you are.
So, I mean, there are certain things, if you know a person, like there are just certain things you should know about a person. Like that, if I know we evolve as people evolve. But there are some things that you should be settled in yourself. We've had this conversation all 4 times. There are just certain pieces of you at a certain age that should just be settled, period.
Yeah, but see, this is the sad thing is, that's the way it used to be.
And if it's not like that now, then you're too broken to be in a relationship. Just be by yourself until you get yourself together.
But we as society have created this horrible, I guess you would call it a conundrum of saying new year, new me. 35 is the new 20. 50 is the new 25, 35. Like, we've done this so much that now people are literally trying to change their core values as they get older so that they can appease other people. Yes.
Can we talk about people with common sense?
It ain't common.
But how many people do you find nowadays with common sense?
I mean, of course,
think about when you go to work.
We understand that common sense isn't common. We get that. But what I'm saying is, because I feel like all the other, like we've talked about all of the foolish examples. Let us as adults sit here and have a mature conversation about people that are in a mature spot that need help.
I
we've dealt with all of the people who were like the one-offs that are just wackos and crazy.
But
and I don't
mean wackos and crazy
and like they don't need help. But what I'm saying is like, let's talk about people who are really in a place where they're like, okay, I feel like I'm doing all the right things. Not the new year, new me people. People who do all that on social media, they let you know right then and there that they broken. The fact that you have to wait for a new year to come in to reset yourself is letting the whole world know that you're broken. You mean to tell me you dealt with beat you up Bob for 12 months and then realized you had to wait till the new year came in to get rid of him? The minute that you felt like, okay, I need to leave, you should have left. And I can speak from that standpoint because I have been abused. When I felt like I needed to leave, I wouldn't like, let me sit in the house until January 1st roll in and then I'm gonna leave. I mean, we're not talking about the one-off random crazy people. We're talking about people who literally are trying to get it together.
But this is the thing. If you've gotten it together and you're there, and you're understanding what relationship and religion are, and you're finally defining it, all I'm saying is that you have to be aware that when you enter the realm of any relationship again, there are going to be people who look like you, who may even sound like you, but at their core, they're not. So you have to also be aware of the traps that are going to be out there also. Because if you go in there blind and thinking that everybody's the same way that you are because you finally are woke, that's a lie.
I'm not saying that because
I know, but what I'm saying is I'm just saying they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. If we don't expose people to what is changing at the same time as elevating those who have already changed and are woke, because what's going to happen is we see this a lot too. You see this a ton. You find somebody who finally has their life together, and they meet somebody on the street who's talking good. You know, they got the fresh cologne on. You know what I'm saying? They have a degree, and everything looks good. It looks golden. And then they get in this relationship, and they realize they're the 50 that thinks that they're 35 again. And at that point in time, once you realize that, you got to walk away. It's a must. Because what's going to happen is all of that work that you did to get woke is going to crumble.
But this is my thing. That's the problem. Listen to what you just said. You realize trying to go into a relationship. What happened to being friends with somebody? Developing friendship first before you try and pursue them.
But that's a relationship either way.
Hold on. Now, just because somebody is attractive, I should not be pursuing them right out the gate. Like, who does that? Oh, just because you good looking, let me already put you in the spot of bae. No, like what happened to let me get to know you first? Like that's where our generation misses it. That's the reason why other generations have longevity in their relationships. They got to know each other. They did this whole thing called courting, and then they did dating and all that jolly good stuff. They went out on dates as groups and they did all this other stuff. Yeah, to this generation it may seem lame, but what's the divorce rate with this generation? Or are you even getting married? So it's like something's got to change. Like it's insanity. We keep going around the same circle.
I agree 100%. I'm not arguing with that.
I got to be Keisha and me tonight. So.
I get what you're saying. I understand that. But there's always that reality that right now, everybody wants to be somebody's. They don't want to be alone. And that's why a lot of people are compromising. Once they are woke, they are still compromising because they don't want to be alone. They don't want to wake up by themselves. They don't want their kids not to have, especially if the other parent is not stepping up to the plate. They don't want the kids not to have another person in the picture to show them what a good example is. Or, period, have a man or a woman in their life, period. So that is the reality in which we're living in right now in the society that we have. And it's sad. I agree 100%. It is sad. But very few people have it all together. I think that the reason why I say that is, did you see the interview with Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith? And how Will Smith, who him and his wife, you can tell they love each other. You can tell that they really enjoy being around each other. They have good energy with each other. But he said for 45 days, every morning she cried. And she actually said it was more than that. But he caught it around the 45 days. Every morning she was up crying because she was unhappy. And I'm saying this to say, even though things may look perfect and, we look like we're on the same page, somebody's going to be hurting in a relationship, and we have to be equipped to handle that. We have to be knowledgeable to understand that things are changing in society. People are changing in relationships, and we have to be ready and willing to work on that relationship so that we're still having the same religious experience. Is Keisha coming out, or is Tara coming out?
I'm gonna send Keisha back for a minute.
Go ahead, send Keisha back.
No, but because I knew that Keisha would interject. Shout out to Keisha. Happy birthday to you, girl. Enjoy your day today. Because I knew Keisha would interject right then and there and be like, no, we're not talking about the random crazy. But no, what I was gonna say is I agree with you. People are evolving. If you're staying in a place of stagnation, then we need to talk to you. We need to figure that out, because as we go from glory to glory, faith to faith, you should be going from level to level in your personality. Everybody should be leveling up continuously. If you're stuck, then that's what people like us therapists are for. We're here to help you get unstuck. We're here to help you get to that next level. But what I am saying is that in order to engage relationship, and I agree with what you're saying, that people just don't want to be alone. But like you said earlier, to your point, why go into a relationship and damage somebody who has the potential to do better and be better? I heard a comedian tell a joke today. I was on Instagram and was scrolling up, and the guy was like, he said, your relationship is bad when the person breaks up with you and you're like, good for them, they can finally go and be somebody. Like, you're bad for a person when you are the one that's congratulating them on finally letting you go. Not because you cheated or anything, but because you realize the potential that they have is bigger and better than what you bring to the table. So he was like, I'm glad that you don't have low self-esteem anymore, because you can do so much better now. Go and be free. Like, he made it a joke, but it's so serious. A lot of times in relationships, and even with women, sometimes women will be the one bringing down a relationship. A man could be further along in life, but because of a woman and her neediness and her, him feeling like he needs to be there, a woman can actually hold a man down. We see it a lot of times where women are like, oh, he's going to be a good guy. Let me trap him with a baby. If he ain't going to be with me, he at least going to financially be with me. Women do that all the time. I mean, men do it too.
If she's bad and she cooking clean and she put up with my craziness, oh, I'm about to get her in a bond. That men think that way. That's just
I know.
Men think that way.
I'll be telling all my business on this thing.
Okay, but I want to go something real before you go to the next to telling your truth. All right, before you go there. All right. So you said something important about seeing therapists, but I also want to say this, that if you are saved and you are a part of a church family, yes, it is great to see a therapist. I get it. But your first priority is to seek the man and woman of God in your ministry and tell them who you've met. Let them be a part of the process, because they are ordained and set up through God to be able to help direct you in the right path. And so that is their job also. They are the leader of the flock. And when you make a move, I know for me, when I have to make decisions, I have to go to my pastors now, because I'm learning that God speaks to them on a daily. He speaks to me too, but he speaks to them concerning me. And this is just an encouragement for anybody else. If you want to do this, you do it, take it. If you don't, throw it away. But I know it's a benefit when you get godly counsel from somebody who doesn't have an ulterior motive. And I'm not saying therapists do. I'm not trying to knock that down at all. I'm just saying for somebody who's in a church, who's a part of a church, who's active in a church, it is important to speak to your man and woman of God and let them know what's going on in your life. Because they may see red flags that you don't see.
I'll say this as well though, but you have to make sure that people aren't trying to impose, and that's whether it be counseling or whether it be church. Because you can be legit submitted to a man or woman of God and you can feel as if though the connection is God sent. But people have a way of imposing their own personal agendas and thoughts and wills on you when they see weakness in you. And that can, and I'm not saying that all leadership in churches are unhealthy, but there are some unhealthy leadership that will literally go into a witchcraft type of mindset and will have you thinking, oh, you need to be with this person or you need to leave that person all the way alone, like throw them away. Like
that's when discernment comes into play too. You definitely have to have some discernment.
But there are some times when you are so desperate, and I'm not talking about we're going back to that example. There are some times when people are so desperate to be connected to God and have relationship and religion to where they will literally not make a move unless they check with their man or woman of God. And if their man or woman of God says, I don't know about that, then that's the end of it. Like they don't even have a mind to think on their own. I definitely think that you should seek your leaders for counsel because they may have insight, but my leaders aren't God.
No, they're not. But that's what I said. But see, there's a difference. When you know that your leader truly has a relationship with God, you have no problem going to them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you should not go to them.
I get it. But I'm talking about, I know, but I'm going back to the relationship portion. Because when somebody has a relationship with somebody else, and you know it's a firm relationship with them, then you trust their wisdom, you trust their insight, because you know that they know this person like the back of their hand. And so when you can trust somebody that much, you know they won't lead you and guide you into the wrong direction. So that's just my viewpoint of that. But I wanted to hit that real quick because sometimes we skip over the people that are closest to us who do really care about us and want us to be successful.
I agree. I mean, I definitely think that you should seek counsel of your leadership. I'm not saying that you shouldn't seek counsel of your leadership, but have some common sense too.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody order McDonald's or Grubhub or something? Because brother hungry here too. You know what I'm saying?
My God.
But so John, what's been going on, man? Happy belated birthday.
God bless you, man. Appreciate that.
I seen that you turned up with some crab legs or crabs.
Sir, let me tell you, it was a whole situation. It was a whole situation.
Yes. Was it good though?
It absolutely. I needed that break.
I feel you. Sometimes you need a nice sabbatical.
Yes, you do. Everyone does. Otherwise, you go crazy.
And then when you have seafood included, it's even better.
Speak, man of God. Speak, man of God.
Ain't nobody got no blood code.
Just saying. You keep on disappearing in the middle of a conversation.
I was disappearing because I needed to open my garage, okay?
You got some Pizza Hut, some Domino's? What you got? Papa John's?
Food at all.
Some Gucci?
No, we don't do Gucci. Not after that. Take both of those bags and throw them in the back of the closet.
All right, I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Anyway, what I missed.
But listen, I do have a question to pose. Because I know you're about to go into your truth, but...
No, I'm not. Actually, I'm good.
Okay, good. We needed that pause so you could rethink it. But all right. So let's go with the scenario Tara was talking about earlier. So I'm doing great. I've got all my ducks in a row. God is good. I'm ready to find that new companion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a good spot. You were saying that we need to start out as friends first.
Mm-hmm.
But what if the other person has all their ducks in a row? They trusted on God, and they say, "Listen, hey girl, you know how we talk. Hey girl, God told me that you're my wife. What do you do?"
Man of God, God ain't told me that. So,
But the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible, the
I
Bible,
understand
the
that the
Bible.
Bible says that the man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtain favor of the Lord.
Huh?
I
Where did he
understand
say?
scripture. Oh, trust and believe. She or knows scripture. If I know nothing else. However, just because you find me, a crackhead can find crack. That don't mean he should be smoking it.
Okay, bad example. Because he's a crackhead, he's gonna find crack.
I'm just saying.
Inevitable. Like,
I'm just saying. If a crackhead finds crack, that doesn't mean he shouldn't be smoking it. As a man, that's a good example. No, that's a good example because as a man, you should be looking for a woman. You should be looking for a woman. So you're gonna find a woman. Is that woman gullible enough to just go run off into the sea with you?
On. Gullible. I just said.
Wait. So let's put this whole statement together that she's posing to us. So a man should be looking for a woman the same as a crackhead should be looking for crack.
That's what I just heard.
Is basically
That's
what
I
you just said.
heard.
Can I get a witness?
Oh, okay. And then she said they would be gullible. Are they gullible enough? Listen, if I'm looking for crack ain't got to be gullible. It's just gonna come with me.
Listen,
crack goes to a crack. But listen, I want to address that gullible statement.
Can I finish the statement though?
Okay, go ahead. I back off. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, she, me, her understands the scripture that says, when a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor from the Lord. Mm-hmm. Okay, which would mean that man is searching for someone that fits that particular category of being a wife, being a virtuous woman. I get that. But don't think that we are flowers in a field for you just to pluck up just because God gave you a word. That's not how that works. You have to build relationship. You can't just assume just because you have the word of the Lord that I'm just gonna be like, okay, so what date do we set? No.
So what's the time? Okay, so what's the time frame of building this? Because if God tells me, boom, that's my woman, and He confirms it with you, and we are both on the same page, why do I need time to build something with you?
Well, first and foremost, there are some things that you need to work out of your souls. Like you need to do some type of premarital counseling. There needs to be some work that's put in.
I get it.
You don't get married. Okay, this is not like the Bible days where we were bartering for sheep and goats.
No, but what I'm saying but what I'm saying is yes, it is important to get counsel. It is important to go through that process, but at what extent? Because if we're both saying we're talking about people who are not in the crazy area, but in the actual, they got it together. They are fully woke. So if they woke and their issues have been resolved and God spoke and said, okay, this is who I want you to be with. And they both have confirmation and they both know what they're supposed to do. And so is it wrong for them to go from, hey, you wifey. Oh, you my husband. All right, cool. Let's go to counseling for 2 months and then get married. Is there anything wrong with it? Because they're not going to be, it's hard. It's not going to be as easy to build that friendship. Like I have friends that I've been with for years. They'd probably be easier to marry than somebody I just met on the side of the road because they know me. So are you opposed to that? I'm trying to play devil's advocate here.
I know you're trying to walk us to a particular place that's in Jamat's mind that he wants everybody to get to. Let's just put our backpacks on and go on down the road.
Let's ride the wave.
Grab your donkey and
ride the wave. But no, seriously though, like because you made the statement, I'm just trying to get people to understand that
Thing.
there are some times when it's going to be different.
Look, he got his book bag. Just get on your donkey. Let's just
Ready
ride.
for the adventure.
That'll
Where are
look.
we going?
Where are we going? All right. Who got the snacks? All right. So what I was gonna say is I have a working and living example in my life.
I guess next.
You have good. You just got chocolate. Is that gum?
No, it's
Ghirardelli.
Ghirardelli.
Chocolate.
Chocolate milk.
All of y'all just got chocolate. Okay,
It's
so
volume time today.
like I was saying though, I have working examples in my life of this very situation. My parents were not saved at the time, but they met each other, dated 3 months, and got married after month 6, and have been together since then. I'll be 33 in March, and they'll have been married 36 years in November. So, and there were no children before me, and the only child after me is Genesis. So I have a working example in my viewing, area of that actually being something that could happen. I have that. But what I'm saying is in today's society, I'm not saying that God ain't still doing stuff like that. He is. I'm quite sure he's doing it. It's just, because of all of the stuff that's on us, a lot of times it don't happen like that.
But once we get,
but it ain't really.
But once it gets off of us, we should be able to operate that way. That should be a goal that we aspire to have, because sometimes the longer you're trying to build a relationship with people, you find things wrong with them.
I agree that you shouldn't be dating a person like 4 and 5 and 15 years. I agree. I think, and I don't think that you should put a timeline on how long you date a person either. But I think that I do think there should be a timeline. If you're dating people 3 and 4 and 5 years, you've already determined within yourself that they may not be the one. Because love is kind of like
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it can be a fear, because you know what I'm saying? A lot of people have a fear, especially you talked about it earlier with the way that the rates are for divorce. Faith can be wavering. And that's the sad part. A lot of people have faith, but they don't understand how faith works. The word says that all you have to have is the faith the size of a mustard seed, which barely it is. I have mustard seed in my car. It's like super small, but they don't understand that something super small grows into something really big.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get this fear, and it's like, I don't know if this is going to really work. I mean, so-and-so is saved, sanctified. They pastors, and they got divorced after 10 years of marriage. Like, I don't know if we can do this. And, it becomes wavering because of the examples that we've seen. It becomes wavering because nobody wants to go through a divorce. It's painful.
But I think that, like you said, we look at society and we look at the people around us too much. If I believe in myself, what happens to Billy Joe Bob shouldn't affect me.
It shouldn't. I agree. But that's not how it works.
To your own core values and beliefs.
Yeah, but that's not how. It's not. We're so easily a manipulated society, and even in church. Okay, so, dang, I'm gonna say this, but I don't want y'all to take it the wrong way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I am not a part of any Kojak or anything like that. Kojak, or however you want to say it.
Kojak.
Cognac.
Kojak.
Whatever you want.
Cognac.
Kojak. Okay. I'm not a part of any. I am straight non-denominational. Okay. When I was in Baptist, I seen shouting, but not until I probably was like 13 or 14 years old. Probably at 14 years old, did I see people shout. Okay. And as I got older, and I'm growing older, I'm seeing little kids, 5, 6 years old, being taught how to shout. And in my mind, they don't have a full understanding of what shouting really is. And if they don't have a full understanding, that
I
means
hope
that
the
they
adults have a full understanding of what shouting really is.
100%. But I want to use the children because now that after they've been taught when they're 5, 6, 7 years old, when they turn 25 and they have kids, they're going to teach their kids the same thing. So what we've got is a repeated cycle of people not understanding or knowing and have been manipulated and persuaded that this is what you do as soon as you hear these first two chords. This is what you do. And
I'm sorry.
But that's how marriage has been manipulated also, because it's been each generation has been sadly manipulated to think that marriages don't work. You might as well just get you a baby mama. You might as well have all these kids because all you're gonna do is pay child support. That's it. And not understanding that you're destroying what the family core values that were actually instilled years ago. You're destroying that, and now we don't have any core values. So we're easily manipulated to think, you know what, I don't need to marry anybody. I could just have a kid and I'll be good to go.
That's true. Or you can adopt. I think that when we, because you mentioned that, I'll just go ahead and put it out there that when you really think about it, the whole plot of the enemy is to destroy relationship, because relationship is what creates religion. And we can trace that all the way back to the garden, with how he deceived Eve, and then Eve deceived Adam. And it wasn't an issue until Adam sinned, because the commandment wasn't given to Eve, it was given to Adam. So let me do my quick hermeneutics and correct every man that blames Eve. Commandment was given to you.
Yep.
So go on. And I know the rest of the verse says, this woman that you gave me, I know all of that. But at the end of the day, that man had a choice, and he was being held accountable by God. And he could have been like, nah, girlfriend, go on over there. But anyway, back to what I was saying is,
let John go.
The whole point and purpose of the enemy is to destroy relationship and connection.
I agree.
And that is what we get our religion from, because if we're not connected to God, we can't have a true foundation. We don't know what our core beliefs are, because we don't have a governing principle to teach us core beliefs or core values. So that's the reason why we're kind of just blowing in the wind, as you say, because it's nothing solid or concrete for us to stick our core beliefs to. Now you can go, John.
Okay. I'm gonna revelate for 1 minute, and then I'm gonna substantiate your point. Okay.
Go.
Okay.
John the Revelator.
Ezekiel says that that Satan was I believe it calls him he was the anointed cherub of evil, which meant that his responsibility was to protect the garden. So the reason that he got in is because he knew the layout, he knew the intricacies of the garden, right? Which also means that he knew what 2 points were not protected. Now the question should arise: why was she even talking to a snake? It wasn't the snake, it was the voice that was familiar to her. So to substantiate your point, if we're going to have successful relationships that are not devoured by a seducing spirit, we've got to get familiar voices and spirits out of our peripheral.
I agree.
And a familiar spirit can be what grandmama then went through, what auntie then went through. It can be what we see in the media, entertainment, even in church. You know, we see. I'll pull that back. We see bad examples in church.
That's true.
And it's because the church is jacked up. But the great thing that I love is that the church is trying to heal itself.
It really is.
The great thing is, like, you know, you've got three young people here who've grown up in the church who want other people who have grown up in the church to succeed and to be happy and to live a great life and not be destroyed and not taint the next generation.
Correct.
So that's the great thing about the church. And to go back to what Tara was talking about earlier, which I love this about having conversations, because you can always go back to the root of the conversation. Yes, this is to help build people up. That's why it's called Talk Elevated. We are not here to destroy. We are here to reveal, because if you reveal something to somebody and they see it and they understand it, then they can grow from there. Mm-hmm. And so now with us talking about relationship versus religion, now you know from this point forward that if your relationship is right and your religion is right, you're living a healthy life.
So you just graduated.
Yeah.
You are officially an archbishop.
Because it rhymed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Archbishop of the Southeast region.
Yes.
Of the Free Will Missionary Pentecostal Holy AME Zion Baptist Church.
Church of God in Christ.
Church of God in Christ.
International.
And oh man,
Episcopalian church. Yeah.
I like that. All right.
Is your ticket purple or pink or orange or red or blue?
It's gonna be red. Red. I'm always red. I'm red all day.
Okay, you're the Chief Deluxe Archbishop Sanctimonious, His Grace.
That's been washing the blood of the Lamb.
And dipped over 3 times.
Washed and currently walking in the blood of the Lamb, right?
Look, you better have blood.
Oh my goodness!
Ooh, yes,
I was watching Mother
Hill this morning. Has bloody moves and bloody shoes. My God!
I had to give him a Mother Hill praise.
Hello. I don't know what to do with you two. Lord have mercy. Jesus.
You know what? I just honor God.
So let's bring it back to reality again, because Lord have mercy.
Preachers,
I'm gonna tell you
the
truth.
You gonna need it.
Women's of God.
Listen.
Take your Listerine with you. When you lay hands, take your Listerine with you.
Wow.
Oh
God.
I'm done.
All right, so check it. Let's
It's messed up.
Cause y'all are
okay.
But look.
I told
we
myself,
can have a good time. I love it.
I told myself, for my next catering setup, I'm gonna totally buy a whole bunch of mini bottles of Listerine and put them in a bowl. You gotta have something to clean your palate, depending on the event type. If you're trying to,
no,
I'm just saying.
Listen.
So what about the wino that goes over and
let me say this.
Take a bunch of Listerine with me.
Limit 1 per guest.
So you can have
you might as well. You know what? You might as well put it in the gift bag. Don't put it at the end of the table, because there will be that. First of all, how some people do, and they will say, "You don't want yours? Get yours and give it to me."
Yeah.
Okay.
They have to know with 10 Listerine.
And they have 10 Listerines, because ain't nobody. They're gonna have the freshest breath in there at the same time as being the drunkest person at the party.
They're gonna have the freshest breath and the gangsters some leans.
Crazy. So, wow. You know what? But we are a prime example of good relationship. On air, at least. Because sometimes I'd be wanting to cut people off air. But on air, I love everybody. Oh, I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. I get along with everybody. You gotta count to 10? Was the Sister Soldier about to come out?
Nah, I was
finna channel. I got my cutting tools too.
You gotta do what?
Make sure I got my cutting tools too.
That's a whole night.
Oh my goodness. Jonathan, I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know.
No, I literally just did like a whole display for a client. So yeah.
Is it safe?
It's safe.
Oh Jesus! Jesus, take the wheel.
Because it can come out tonight.
Ooh, I need some more of that. I need some more of that.
Tonight it can come out.
Wow. Okay. So, how do
What
you?
were you trying to say, Jamon?
But I was trying to say that when your core values are strong and your religion is strong, and you've built relationships with other people that no matter what the circumstances are, you can recover and you can continue to build with those people. I'm not saying it's not going to be uncomfortable, but us being three different personalities, dealing with three different things in three different scenarios, we can still come together because we've built a foundation and we have a foundation of what our goal is and what we aspire to do. Then it doesn't matter what happens, we can still work through it and build. And so I think that we are a prime example of, what a good relationship can be. Even Keisha, who's not here, she's not here, but we had a good conversation with her and good dialogue and had a good time. You know what I'm saying? So she's always plays devil advocate. So,
and it was hard work being me and Keisha tonight. Ooh, Jesus.
I know you ain't tapping into multiple personalities in a while.
Yeah. I'm able to turn into Keisha because me and Keisha, our prior friendship, we've been friends since we were 8. I'm telling the audience.
I was gonna say, don't tell nobody else that statement after this moment.
I'm just saying we've been friends since we were 8 years old, so it's easy for me to be to pretend and be what Keisha would do
because you've built a relationship with her.
We built a relationship, exactly.
And you know each other.
Now, I'm not gonna now. I don't have 2 personalities. Let's be clear. Let's clear that up.
You ain't split personalities anymore. Yeah. You're doing good now.
There's a bucket.
No more. Don't play. Don't play.
Listen, I know all 3. I know Tara, Nisha, and I know Muffin. I know all 3.
So you gonna put my nickname out there? You know what? Man of God.
Oh man.
Preachers, take your Listerine with you, because it might be arsenic.
Oh, I can put that out there though, because you know what I'm saying. Hey, I'll call myself out. I have multiple.
We put the nickname out there.
Sure, we can put the nickname out there. I got Jamon, I got Jay, I got the mayor, and I got Jelly.
Yeah, I was about to say you better hit that last J. Hit that last J.
I got him. But hey, I'm confident in them because, truthfully, at my core, you know who I am. You know that I'm a ride or die. You know that because I love God so much, I love God's people. So you know, no matter who you're dealing with, if it's about His people, I'm going to come and take care of them. Why? Because it's who I am. That's at my core.
That's true. 'Tis true. Amen.
So
now we got our nicknames out there. John, what's your nickname?
I'll never tell it so.
I think I know it. Do I know it? Let me think. I think I do know it.
Hey, Jonathan.
I think I do know it, but I'm
J Van. JK.
What's up, bro?
Listen, man. It's okay to have a nickname.
I know, but
as long as it doesn't define you.
No, the one nickname that I have, I have 2 of them. One, only my mother can call me, but the other one, most people from back home call me John. And my grandmother gave me that nickname, and it just stuck for years. So people literally thought that my legal name was John.
Where are you from?
I'm from Kansas.
Yeah. Oh, Kansas.
Don't you say
a John nickname?
Don't you say a word.
Who are you talking to? Me and him.
Both of y'all. Choose you to stay.
Kansas. Okay. Kansas. Okay. As long as your nickname ain't Toto, you good.
This is not the shade room, so yeah, not the shade room.
All right. So cool. But I appreciate the relationship that we have built. We need to have some theme music or something. I feel like I need to be like Slade on I'm Gonna Get You
Really?
Sucker.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
I feel like I need some theme
Well, you go
music
ahead
or
and
something.
hire a marching band to play behind you everywhere you go.
You know what I'm saying? It's all good. I think I got some. Can you play music on this? Does it give you the opportunity to play?
No, because it's gonna be copyrighted and it's gonna pull it down.
Even if I own the copyrights to the music?
YouTube is gonna suspend it until you can prove it. And that'll be like, well, 7 to 10 business days with YouTube.
All they gotta do is call me. I give them the information. But I do enjoy this because I feel like every time we get in the ring, there's some shade thrown. There's a little bit of jabs here and there, but it's good talk.
It's talk elevated.
We elevate. Listen, I feel elevated right now.
Amen.
I do. I feel like we've accomplished something tonight.
No comment.
I was about to say, because saying I feel elevated sound like you high.
No.
That's why I was like, okay.
No.
Let's get lit.
I have a government.
I thought of John Legend too.
Ha.
You said it, not me.
I thought of John.
I have a government job. I stay clean, okay? I stay clean. But no, when I say I'm serious, like I feel like we've all reached another level because
I agree. I agree.
This show has really pushed us through some boundaries, to some new boundaries, and some I don't know about anybody else. I've definitely experienced more challenges and challenging myself to live what we're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always comfortable, but it is real. It's real talk.
Yeah.
So thank you for letting me be on this panel for this series and allowing me to voice my opinions and sometimes talk over people and call people out. But it's who I am, so I thank you for letting me be who I am.
Bishop, why you rocking?
Because he just feeling his shana now.
I have a nervous condition, so I rock a lot.
Don't. You gotta work on your phrasing.
I'm just being honest.
And I just made, I just might any minute.
I have a nervous condition, so usually I'm shaking my legs or I'm biting my fingernails or but I've been good at not biting my fingernails and I'm just rocking. I just rock.
Hey man, I'm glad that
the
fact is not biting your fingernails.
Yeah, because it's nasty. It's nasty. So,
any closing remarks?
I wanted to, like I said, I wasn't even done, but it's all good. I'll be cut off today.
Oh no, you had something else to say. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, I wanted to let everybody know. Holla at your boy on Instagram, Evo_production07. Check out my boy Rio. They need a hit. That's his name on Instagram. He's a Grammy nominated producer, but he does these shirts. Faith over fear. Faith over fear. God is engineering. Trust the process. Check him out online. Check out my brother Jamar Jenkins, relationship over religion. Listen, if you understand his testimony, you will understand why he believes so strongly in these shirts. And I thank J.K. Van, who has yet to send me any information on how to eat right, but I still love him. And then Taranisha. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. I do what I can. All right. Jesus, all these J's. John, any closing remarks to the people of God?
Can I just be me for like 1 minute? Literally time me 1 minute.
Yes, please do.
Here we
Just
go.
1 minute.
Be you.
No, Tommy. No, for real. Father, thank you for everyone that's tuning in to this broadcast. And I just pray that the information that's been shared, the truth, the transparency, the wisdom will become applicable to their lives. We just release grace and virtue over them. And Lord, we decree that their relationships will come up first in connection with you. Any lateral relationships, God, we just speak the come up will be their portion for this year. We decree even new relationships be established as new Cornelius connections, new covenants, Father, new marriages will be established because of what has taken place over these past 4 weeks. We release blessings over every business, every household that's represented, over every person watching, even people going back to watch the replay. Let their spirits be caught up with the wisdom of the Spirit that's being poured out, grow them, mature them, advance them. Amen.
Hallelujah. Okay, so you've been you for 60 seconds. Any other closing remarks, final statements, comments, concerns?
You know, be authentically you in everything that you do. Be 1,000,000% you. Don't be a copyright version of somebody else. Be you in your relationships and in your everyday life. Be yourself. Be authentic. Put your heart out. Man, live from your heart. Lead by example. And take your Listerine with you. Amen.
Because you're going to need it. Hey, I promise you that's going to be like on somebody's way. And the saints going to be like, taking this to me with you. You're going to need it. Mm-hmm. It sounds like a song in a juke joint, though. That little.
It did, low key.
That I was like, okay, I can get with that.
That's a Southern thing, isn't it?
A juke joint?
That's a Southern thing, isn't it?
I don't really know if they have juke joints in the South.
Wait, but don't you live in the South?
I don't, but I go to church. I don't go to the club, so I wouldn't know if they have juke joints in the South.
You don't go to church anymore. I mean, you don't go to the club anymore.
I actually never went to the club. I've never been to a club. Ever.
Lord have mercy.
Thank you for bridling my tongue, Holy Ghost. Thank you.
What? But okay, since y'all want to go there, I have never been to the club. I have never been drunk. I've never smoked anything that has no business being in my body. I am low-key a Nazarite. Just kidding. I've cut my hair before. But all in all, I just want to thank all of you guys for bringing your talents and your personalities to this 4-part series that we did in regards to relationship. Thank you for tapping into the vision that God gave me. This is not the end, but it is the conclusion of a moment in time. Talk Elevated will be bringing more content. There is a whole revamping that'll take place to Talk Elevated. So please stay tuned for more details and more information. But we really, really appreciate everyone who's watched, everyone who's paid attention, everyone who has shared, liked, even those that have commented, those who have sent emails, all that other good stuff. We really do appreciate your support. Like I said, that there will be a small break as we do some revamping and rebuilding, but you can always catch these replays. And you can also be on the lookout for individual uploads that'll take place from different people. We've got some really exciting things in the works for Talk Elevated. It's definitely, as we said, the talk is elevated and Talk Elevated is going to the next level. So really excited. Really, I don't know. I'm lost for words for what I really wanted to say about it. But I will say this to anyone who's watching, don't give up on your dream, whatever your dream may be. And I feel like the reason why God had us tackle relationships first is because it's so important that you have your relationships together, because it's no man is an island, and it takes relationship, it takes connection, it takes community to build whatever it is you're trying to build, whether it be a church, whether it be a business, whether it be a home, whatever facet that you're trying to influence or build, it requires you to have connections and relationship. And he that obtains friends must first show themselves friendly. So I thank all of my friends for coming on. I thank you guys for everything that you did. Words can't express my level of gratitude at this time. And I wish you all the best in the future. And I know that all of your mini businesses will be super successful. Yeah, that's pretty much it, because I'm not going to cry on air.
Amen.
Amen. Please don't.
Thanks.
We thank you.
I don't cry.
We appreciate you. Listen, big girls do cry.
I'm not going to cry, though. I see my wailing at for the altar or in my car.
Well, peace, love, and hair grease.
Hair grease. People are still using hair grease?
I don't know. I'm old.
I use moisturizer.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, people use moisturizer and edge control nowadays.
Let's not even talk about edge control, because some people use too much.
No chemicals, just juices and berries.
Juices and berries. They ain't never the off-term. All right, love y'all. Have a good night.
Peace.
Holla.